my headphone, my microphone. So while I do that, I'll say hello. It is Monday, the 25th of November, 2024, and congratulations getting this far. And I just want a big shout out to everyone who's made it over here from the stream that didn't work on the other one. It first of all, it was the wrong aspect ratio, and secondly, it just failed. The stream just failed. I was trying to stop it and it wouldn't let me. So here we are now. It's alive, says Gallifreyan Man. Good to know there's someone else out there. Let me just click my mic on, and I'm going to plug in and let me know if the sound is okay. If the sound is problematic once I plug in. Right, I'm plugged in. The sound should be coming through my mic. I thought I was 4 minutes too late, says Fax. No. I was all set up ready to go with just internet problems, and then when it started streaming, it started streaming like portrait. So I was like on the side, and it was like, no, it's one of the most irritating things on YouTube is the orientation thing. Because it's really important. YouTube, you know what orientation when you're going live, you need to know whether it's going to be portrait or horizontal. And for some reason, it's not like a big deal. It's like a little toggle, and it's not part of the main options. And then once you've gone off that first page, you can't see it again. But there you go. A bit annoying, as I did set that other stream up dead early this morning. I don't know. Right, virtual hide and seek badges, says One Angry Pagan. Worth the chase and hoop jumping, says Donkey. I don't know if that's true, but MHK, thank you very much for letting me know that the sound's coming through loud and clear. That's all good. So I'm broadcasting from Ginger Island for those who are uninitiated. This is the island that I won in a game show about 11 years ago, and since then. Well, I lived here for a few years off-grid, rainwater collection, solar power, all that kind of stuff, and it was really fun. It was really fun. And then I came home to because my dad was ill, and also to get involved in politics a bit more because Britain seems to be going to hell in a handcart. And mission accomplished. I think there. I mean, we failed on Brexit, but at least we didn't get a no-deal Brexit. And also, we finally got rid of the Tories after 14. Horrific years of them being the shittest thing ever to ever shit. Just gonna move this a little bit so it's a bit more horizontal. It's upsetting my OCD. Right. It's like I'm a Graham PC and I'm a Graham Mac. Lol. Yes. Anyway, so so the long story short, I'm back here because of climate change, because of the fact that we are suffering from the rising tides caused by the melting of ice caps, and also Greenland, and also glaciers, and also caused by the warming of the sea. As the sea gets warmer, it expands. Like warmer water takes up more volume than cold water. And as a result of that, this island and many islands like it, which are very low lying, it's a mangrove island, are going underwater, which kind of sucks. I clicked refresh about 30 times. Where do I send my RSI claim? Fun fact: UK as handcart versus handbasket in the USA. It's funny hearing Brexiters call for another election. Same people who say we can't have enough referendum. There was a vote and they won. Well, yes, sir, exactly. I mean, what? They want another election? Well, of course they do. They lost. Like, they lost really badly. That's just not the way it works. I don't care. Like 500,000 people sign a petition because 13 million people probably voted for the Tories and refuck. Like, okay, they all got to sign a petition. They're still in the minority. Just so stupid. And Labour have done exactly what they said they're going to do. What did they put in the manifesto that they haven't done, or what did they say they were going to do that they haven't done? I mean, they said they were going to tax the rich. Essentially, if you read between the lines, and what are they doing? They're taxing the rich. They've put VAT on private schools, which they said they were going to do. They've changed the inheritance tax rules, so you can't have this big loophole where you can just buy vast tracts of land and claim you're a farmer, so you don't have to pay inheritance tax, or your offspring don't have to pay inheritance tax. And they've stopped giving £300 hot water extra, what's it called? The winter fuel allowance. They stopped giving £300 of extra free cash to millionaires, because like one in 5 or 1 in 4 pensioners are millionaires. Like, okay, they don't need the money. They're going on cruises. They buy a new car every 6 months. Like, they don't need £300 of the taxpayer when the people paying the biggest bulk of tax are workers, people actually, doing stuff, not retired, not living off their savings, their investments. Sorry, you don't really live off your savings. That's something else. They're not living off your investments. I mean, you've got people like Rishi Sunak, who basically can live off the interest on his stock. I mean, him getting upset about them raising capital gains tax. Do you see how angry he was after the budget was announced? Yeah, because they're taxing the rich. They're going after the rich. They're going after people in private jets. And this is what I wanted Labour to do. So I'm not bothered. I mean, I want Labour to go further, but so far, so good, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it is a case of softly, softly catch your monkey. You can't just put 100% tax on everyone who's a toff. Unfortunately, but you could do things. You could do things that really, really change things up. Now, some of the biggest landowners in the country are descendants of William the Conqueror's chums from back in the day. Okay, cool. So you got this vast sums of land, yeah, and you've been passing them down generation to generation, yeah. And you don't have to pay inheritance tax on that. No, we don't have to pay inheritance tax because we're filthy fucking rich. Okay, I'll tell you what. You lot need to pay some inheritance tax. What? No, we can't do that. We're going to London to protest. And it's like, I don't think they're making very many friends. But it's interesting, isn't it, that a lot of farmers who have been badly done to by Brexit, I mean, we've hardly heard a peep about that. There were no big protests against Brexit by farmers. They just didn't seem to care. They were like, yep, okay, that's all right. I don't want the common agricultural policy, giving me money. I want to follow the same rules and regulations as everywhere else, but I just don't. I just don't want the subsidies. The subsidies are for losers. Subsidies are woke, said Farmer Giles of Ham. Anyway, so yeah, it's all a bit. Greenland is one to watch. I use that as a barometer. Back again from Portugal, once again with the renegade action. Okay, 34 hours, no sleep for me. Oh my God, Angry Bird, what have you been doing? Sorry, one Angry Pagan. So weird, my sister learnt that birds are dinos and that mosasaurs were giant monitor lizard relatives, not weird crocs. Fun. Yes. Chickens were once T-Rexes, kind of. 2 million I've still signed and still rising, says Northern Powerhouse. So, I mean, how many people signed the petition for to stop Brexit? It got up to what, 5 million, 6 million or something. It's not the way it works. Bye. Petition is all bots. Musk and Putin. Keir Starmer has signed it 1,635 times so far. Doesn't surprise me. We had a look at some of the stats on this, and most of the sign-ups were during the night in the UK, between 12 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the morning. Just not real. Poor farmers are being so abused by the rich in this latest political marketing campaign. Yeah, they're being used. But they were used by the rich in Brexit as well. 69% of farmers voted for Brexit. I mean, they were used. They were manipulated into thinking that this is something they have to do. Nearly all farmers are conservatives. Conservatives are always going to get the rural vote, no matter how deprived and depraved the rural places in the UK. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. No matter how deprived rural areas in the UK get, they'll still vote Tory. It's remarkable. Like, there's very much that feeling of, I don't know, the haves and have-nots. The Tories did sweet FA for over 6 million that signed the new EU referendum petition. There you go, David, I just said that. Rishi Sunak the Hedgehog's wife, 700 million, pays a bit in dividends, probably, yeah, and she didn't want them to go up. Capital gains tax. It's so frustrating that we on the left have to do every single thing by the book just to get, and they just do this and get away with it. Screw them into the deepest, darkest hole we can find. Yeah, I know. This is why it pisses me off, because the right can do what the fuck they like. They're above the law. They don't give a shit about morality, virtue, caring about each other, the environment, the future, their own children, other people's children. They just don't care. They just don't give a shit. And it doesn't matter. And they can say the most ridiculous shit and get away with it, Whereas if you're on the left, you can't get away with anything. Like, you make one little mistake and that's it, you're out. and it's the left that get cancelled. It's never the right. I mean, Sangeeta Maiska, like, did she get cancelled? I think she got cancelled. I think you'll find that she got cancelled because she was critical of Israel for committing genocide and shit. It's turning into a very British coup. Well, I don't think it'll go that far. We voted for Brexit because we were lied to. Otherwise, we would have never done it, says Northern Powerhouse. I would have actually been amused if Starmer really did sign the petition. Yeah, I'm bored of being Prime Minister. You can have it. You can have it, Kemi. Much of the east of England is going to go underwater. You're going to have to move west eventually. Yeah, well, Lincolnshire. Shit, Lincolnshire. You're in a lot of trouble. I know most of you in Lincolnshire, not watching this, are Tories. I know you are the most Brexity of constituencies. However, I've got to say, water in my moustache. Yeah, it's fine if you don't believe in climate change, but climate change believes in you, and it believes in making life a bloody misery for you, as it has done this week for people. This weekend for people living in Wales. Like the pictures are horrific, and again, like this place, it's only 4 inches. It's only 4 inches, but you can't imagine the amount of damage that 4 inches of bloody water does. And at least that, I mean, it's shit, and I know some people have died, but at least that was fresh water. Although that's the thing, isn't it? It gets mixed in with the sewage because we don't treat our sewage properly. We don't do our drainage right. Like other countries, they separate the brown water from your toilet from the grey water, which is from the drains and you're washing up and your baths and showers and things. And they have 2 separate systems, which are separate so that the shit doesn't get into the gutters when the gutters overflow, okay? That's the problem we have in the UK. We have one drainage system, and it all goes into the same drain. The shit goes into the same drain as the rainwater. So if there's too much rainwater and the system builds up, the shit floats, as the man sang in the song that I referred to in the name of this video. But there you go. So yeah, maybe we need to address our Victorian plumbing system. One drain to rule them all. Yeah, indeed. Some people think Brexit was a good idea. Yeah, I know. They'll die thinking that. They'll die. They'll die of starvation thinking that. The best sausages come from Lincolnshire. Ooh, that's fighting talk where I come from. Shame the locals are so Brexity. Oh, that's made me want a sausage roll actually, from T-Bay Services. Or the truck shop near T-Bay, which is a bit cheaper, and you don't have to fanny about going up north and then turning around and coming back. Right. Oh God, I kicked the bloody camera. Right. So the one thing I was going to talk about today is money. Money. Give me all your money. No, seriously, give me all your money. I need some money. I need money. It's crap having no money, isn't it? Nonsense. We privatised water to upgrade the Victorian sewer system. This could never happen. Says Gallifrey man. Heavy sarcasm, of course. Yeah, you're right. No, so what I want to talk about is money, because we've been discussing this, and I think we've been sort of skating around the issue a little bit on these shows, talking about the differences between left and right. And I mentioned it then, the right get away with everything, where the left have to be beyond reproach. But I'm getting more and more irritated at this attitude of people on the left. So this is us. This is our attitude, and we've got to fucking stop it, okay? Please, if you do this, if you think it, you've got to stop it, all right? Please, just for the love of God, please stop thinking that if you need to do something good, it has to be voluntary, okay? Because on the other side, they will do bad things and they will get paid for it. They will get paid handsomely. So being good doesn't have to include not getting paid. It doesn't always have to be voluntary. It doesn't have to be, we'll get to say have some volunteers, and they'll volunteer their time, and they'll volunteer this, and they'll volunteer that. We've got to move away from this mindset. And although, yes, in certain situations, and it's all hands on deck, fine, if people can, put aside a bit of their free time to help out, that's great. But what you're going to end up with is a bunch of perhaps gifted amateurs who don't really know the system. It's not their job. And we need to make this stuff people's jobs, people's actual freaking jobs, to combat the misinformation, the disinformation, to get the different spin on every single news story that goes through the news cycle, to drive the narrative. We are always, and this is why, right? The left doesn't pay its activists, the right does. Okay, there's your big difference. And that is why the right is so fucking successful and why the left is so shit. Why the left loses all the fucking time, why we're not doing anything about climate change, why we're not doing anything about global suffering, why we're not doing anything about the war in Israel or stopping Putin in any kind of effective way, because the people on the left don't get paid. If they want to get paid, they need to move to the right or grift, like literally sell bullshit. Go down some new age hippie shit and start selling crystal fucking chakras to people to cure them of their maladies. This is no good. This is no good whatsoever. Our system needs to change. Our mindset needs to change. We need to start thinking, hang on, you know that person who's that lovely vicar who lives down the road and he does the church services? Yeah, he gets paid for that. He doesn't do it out of the goodness of his heart. Or her heart. The person who runs the charity, the big charity, Oxfam, Greenpeace, Water, they get paid. Actually get paid quite well. They get paid quite rightly. The people who are on the street with the clipboards asking you to join, pay £1 a month towards the PDSA, they are being paid to do that. Because they should be paid. It's their time. It's their life. It's their thing that they're doing that, is work. It is work. But when we do it, it's not work. Oh no, you don't deserve money for that. And if you ask for money for that, you get called a grifter. But this is it. The right get paid to be evil. The left do not get paid to be good. And that's got to stop. That is absolutely 100% got to stop. Because otherwise, the right are going to just keep winning. This is there's no shortage of people who want to do something, but also there's no shortage of people who need to be able to buy fucking food, who need to be able to buy, pay for their rent, a mortgage, so they're not living on the freaking street. This is the world that we live in, and I'm sorry that it is shit, that it's it's capitalist system, and we should be having UBI. We should be having, we should be having all these different systems that we can set up to make things better for people, but we don't. All right, we live in a capitalist system in which you need to make money to live. It's as simple as that. And if you're not making any money, and they go, oh, we go on YouTube, you go viral, you got a video there, it's got 5 million views. Oh, great, 5 million views. That's maybe £5,000. £5,000. And that might happen once a year. And like, oh my God, you got 5 million views? That's amazing. You got 5 million views. Yeah. Got $5,000 for that, which was great, but it cost me more than $5,000 to make the video. So, ins and outs. But yeah, this is the people on the radio. James O'Brien, he gets paid. He gets paid to do that. And he's good at it. I'm not going to knock him for what he's good at. He's good at pulling people's pants down, metaphorically, on the pulling the pants over the head, actually, and making them run around making chicken noises on the radio. But he gets paid for it. And I'm sick and tired, especially when it's like rich people, especially when it's people who are like absolutely minted, and they're minted, and they're like, well, let's get some volunteers together. Let's get some volunteers together to go and do this thing that we need to do. And this is where the left suffers from a lack of professionalism and a lack of professional thinking. And if we could get that, if we could, untie that Gordian knot, we could be going a lot further. Gallifrey says, sadly, the people who could bankroll such changes are diametrically opposed to it. Not all of them. And it might be a case of, I'm really, really moving towards this idea of having instead of us, what wouldn't work? I'll tell you what wouldn't work. If me and Phil and Tansky and Aid and Bola Hatman and everyone else, we all got together and we were on the same YouTube channel, like we had one channel to rule them all, it wouldn't work. Honestly, YouTube's just not set up like that. Because the way you get people to watch your videos on YouTube, if you don't have a regular audience like you, hello, watching live and commenting as we go, if you don't have that, if you just have if you just are putting videos up, right? You've got your subscribers, and the video should come up on the front page for your subscribers. But unless it links automatically to someone else's channel, i.e., someone watches an episode of Legal Eagle, and then that links, well, what are the options at the end of the video? So you're like, next video, please. And you look through the list of next videos and you look at the thumbnail, it looks most interesting. And generally speaking, that would be, something along the same lines as Legal Eagle. But it could be like something political. Obviously, Legal Eagle's done a little bit of political stuff about Trump. So maybe you'll see a video by Phil. Great. You click on you tap on the video by Phil and you get to watch his stuff. And once you've watched his stuff, you might get linked to Maximilian's, or you might get linked to mine, or you might get linked to AIDS or someone else's. And so that infrastructure wouldn't work the same way if we were all on the same channel, because instead of eventually getting to a point where your options are, so I'd say 10 videos and 5 of them are Us Gang, that's not going to happen. You'll get 10 videos and 1 of them will be Us Gang, because they're not going to put multiple videos by the same channel up as your options at the end of another video. I mean, you sometimes get 2, but it doesn't happen all the time. What I'm thinking of doing, and Gallifreyan Ren is correct in saying that most people who've got money don't want to be parted with it and don't really give a fuck about anything but themselves. Not all rich people. Not all rich people, obviously. Not all rich people. I missed the super chat, actually. Where's the super chat? Come on. Where's the super chat? Where's the super chat hiding? My God. I've actually got a message saying I missed the super chat. There we go. It's from Resloy812. Thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Hi, Graham. Would love to hear your thoughts on the Workers' Party and George Galloway being left-wing and Labour all my life, but Starmer's Labour. I don't know. Well, Galloway is a cunt. So I just demonetised the video. But it's true. He is an opportunist who will side with anyone that takes his fancy in order to further his career. He doesn't give a shit about the people of Gaza. He never did. He doesn't give a shit about the people of Iraq. He never did. The only person that Gorgeous George gives a shit about is himself. I hate him. He's a gobshite. Yeah. Starmer's Labour. Okay, we could have a big long conversation about this, but I need to get back to what I was talking about getting funding and stuff. But I think that first of all, let's just cards on the table. I am very, very, very happy that I don't have to open the news every day and go, oh God, what now? With reference to the UK politics. I might have to do that with Israeli politics or Russian politics or American politics for the next 4 years, but not British politics. I'm not freaking out every day. They said they were going to bring in taxes for the rich, and they've raised capital gains. They've put IHT on farms that billionaires were buying up land and making land prices go up for real farmers in order to avoid inheritance tax. They've clogged that up. They've taxed the shit out of private jets. They have ended the non-dom loophole that Rishi Sunak's wife exploited, even though she was living in fucking Downing Street, my friend. She was living in Downing Street and saying, well, I'm not domiciled here. I mean, obviously not. I mean, I just pay £20,000 a year and then I don't have to pay any tax whatsoever. Ha, 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 ha. When she should be paying literally millions of pounds worth of tax. Millions of pounds worth of tax. So, like I say, I would like them to just go out and just take all the money out of the rich, squeeze until the pips squeak. But I see that there's a way of doing that. Oh, VAT on private schools as well. Brilliant. Bring it on. Bring it on. Tax the people who can afford to pay the freaking tax. The thing is, those same people control the means of communication, and so they will get all the farmers on side. They will get all the tabloid newspapers, obviously, on side. It's not hard for them because they own the tabloids to say, oh, God, no, Labour is so bad. But so far, I think, it's been all right. It's not been 100% of what I want. It's not been 0% of what I want. It's probably about 50% of what I want. I think they could go further. I think they should have possibly, I think they definitely should have made the threshold for the winter fuel allowance higher than it actually ended up being. And that worries me that people will actually freeze as a result of it. So yeah, that seemed like a stupid thing to do. And also for the inheritance tax, maybe they could have put that a little bit higher so that no working farmers would be covered by it. And it was just 100 or so aristocrats who would have to pay it. Well, their children would have to pay it. And there's like this thing of like, we'll have to pay inheritance tax. No, you don't, mate. You'll be dead. What do you care? Anyway, got another super chat, which is good. This is why we should talk about super chats. We get super chats in. Alan Jackson, bit to offset the correct appraisal of George. Thank you very much, Alan. Thank you. I'm not going to get anybody for this video. Anyway, but what I'm paying saying, which is why I like seeing this YouTube community of channels, you, me, Mark, Max, Marcus, Reagan Elite, Alex, Tansky, Aid, Ollie, etc. One piece of paper is easily ripped, but not so many in a stack. Yes. So what I'm paying on that note, so what I want to see is a collective, right? And the way it works is this. We could have a system, instead of us all paying in, and I'm sure we do this anyway, a lot of us, paying into people's Patreons X amount, we consolidate that into one account, right? We aim to get 8,000 people to sign up for just £10 a month, just £10 a month. I sound like I'm on an advert now, don't I? For just £10 a month. And that would pay the full-time wages for 15 of us. And that would mean that if a video goes viral, fantastic. But if it doesn't, it's fine. We don't have to make shite about Farage and Johnson and Trump necessarily just to get the clicks. We don't have to farm for clicks. We basically, we don't have to do those ridiculous thumbnails that we have to make to get people to click on the link. We can actually be putting out proper, real good quality information. We can improve the tech that we're using. We can improve our internet connections. I mean, wouldn't it be great if we could all afford like really boss internet connections? But we can't. So, sometimes I have to look like the guy from fucking Minecraft. But yeah, that's the sort of thing that I'm thinking could definitely work. Just 8,000 people. And I think between us, I know I don't have that kind of following. I think we've got 40,000 people on this channel subscribed, but at the same time, I don't get 40,000 views on every video, not nowhere near that. But I think with the combined efforts of everyone getting together, and then it's just whatever you make on top of that, you make on top of that. So on YouTube, that's your performance bonus. There you go. There's your performance bonus. But just to be able to have the knowledge that we are being paid a wage, we're doing pay as you earn, so we don't have to worry about paying for an accountant at the end of the year. We don't have to worry about holiday pay or sick pay. Having a day off, we can actually have a day off and not feel tremendously guilty about it because, well, we do have quite a work ethic here in this YouTube world, left wing British YouTube people world. But yeah, that's something that I think that could work, and me and others are building towards something along with those lines. But at the moment, I think what needs to change. It might be something that we set up in the new year, but what right now needs to change is this. We need to change our attitude that there's some kind of moral superiority to someone who is running an orange juice store, raising money for charity and not paying themselves to do it, versus someone running Oxfam and getting paid to do it. And saying, well, the person with the orange juice, they are so much more moral. They are so much more morally good than that person who's just basically probably doing it for the money, aren't they? I mean, they get paid enough. And like, okay, yes. However, the person making the orange juice is making fuck all money. You know what I mean? Like the guy or the woman who's running Oxfam, they're making millions for poverty, to alleviate poverty around the world. Whatever Oxfam's projects are at the moment. Oxfam's probably a bad example because obviously they've had some horrific press in recent years. But anyway, the idea that it's more morally correct to not take any money when you do good things, it's bananas. And do you know why priests can't marry? You're going to think this is a mad tangent. Does anyone know why priests can't marry? Right? Just let me know in the chat. I'm going to take a sip of this huge bottle of water with a big chunk of ice in it. And while I'm sipping this, can someone tell me why priests can't marry? What's the actual reason priests can't marry? Because they used to be able to marry. Sounds like an interesting Graham. It sounds like an interesting Graham. Oh, I wish I was an interesting Graham. Unfortunately, I'm just me. No, sounds like an interesting idea, Graham, says Daily Blase. I hope it's successful and good luck. Good morning, Graham, and the whole chat. I hope everyone is very, very well. Oh, that's very nice of you, Darren. I hope you're well as well. Priest, that's Christian stuff, so no idea. I saw on the news a thing about farmers getting paid only 10 pence for £2 loaf of bread. And the story focus was, oh, they need to keep their inheritance zero on, yeah, exactly, mate. You know, how about they do something about so the way it works, this is horrific. So say you're a blueberry farmer and you make blueberries and you have a deal with Asda or Sainsbury's or Tesco, right? And you get paid, let's say you get 50p upon it, right? If they decide to do a deal on blueberries, right, where it's like 2 for 1, they make you pay for that as the farmer, effectively. Like they'll say, right, we're doing a 2 for 1 offer this week, so we're only going to give you 25p for a punnet. And the farmer's like, what? Hey, hang on, no, we had a deal. He says, yeah, but part of the deal is if we want to have a special offer, we can put your price down, and you have to take the consequences. What? No. Okay. Well, find someone else to supply. And because all the supermarkets act as like a bit of a cartel, Oh, what? Why did you stop supplying Asda? Well, because they wanted to do a 2 for 1 offer, and I didn't want to have to pay for it. Oh, okay, because we do that as well, says Sainsbury's or Tesco or Aldi or Lidl. I don't know. Church wants to keep the property, not spread it in inheritance. Yoni, yes. To prevent the accumulation of wealth and power by clergy families, as well as to promote a more dedicated and selfless service to God and the church, says Pablo. Yeah, but it's the first one, really. It was costing too much. It was simply costing too much. And you were getting, they didn't have to just pay for the priest, they had to pay for the priest's wife, and they had to pay for the priest's children and their upkeep. And then the children would get, inheritance from the priest. So get rid of, 100% inheritance tax on priests by saying they can't have children. It's quite cunning, really. But that's what the Catholic Church said. And then, at the end of what Pablo was saying there, more selfless service to God. Yes, indeed. But that's true. It's money. That's the only reason why priests can't marry. It's got nothing to do with the teachings of Jesus Christ. He said nothing about, priests must be celibate and never have sex. He never said that. He mentioned how bad adultery was 3 times, never mentioned homosexuality. He never mentioned slavery being bad either, which is kind of a bit awful. Makes me feel like I've got better morals than Jesus Christ, because I think slavery is wrong. Do you think slavery is wrong? Oh my God, you've got better morals than the Son of God. Funny that. Anyway, but then you didn't live in a Bronze Age, so, whatever. Christ thought to be celibate, so his representatives on earth also celibate. That's why I thought, no, it was just money. It's all about the money. F the morals, does it make any money? Did Captain Tom Moore family get done because they paid themselves through the charity they set up? No, I mean, they could have done. They could have paid themselves a reasonable amount, but they absolutely 100% took the piss on like every level. They built a bloody jacuzzi sauna fucking thing with the money. I mean, come on. But yeah, that's taken it too far. I don't think anyone would have had any problem with them paying themselves to run the charity as a full-time job and paying themselves a decent wage, let's say £47,000 a year. I don't think anyone would have a problem with that. I think people have got a problem with them spending like all that money on a fucking sauna. Like that's when people just step back and go, fuck off. But this gives a bad name for anyone else working in charities, doesn't it? It's the same way that if someone runs a crowdfunder, a GoFundMe, a Kickstarter, and rips everyone off and just takes the money and runs away laughing and gives nothing back, that makes all of us who run Kickstarters and GoFundMes look bad. It's why whenever I'm running a GoFundMe, I always blog every day about it. Like I update all the time. If you go onto my Facebook page, I've got daily updates from here on the island. We're asking for soil to help the islands not go underwater. When I went to Ukraine with UK for UKR, blogged from the road. Like I literally live streamed as we were going. I was like, here's the presents, here's the children getting the presents. Because it's always been really important to me to show what we're actually doing with people's money. Weirdly enough, the most successful campaign I ever did was buy a drink for the Three Blokes campaign when we did the Three Blokes in the pub. And that raised like so much money. And I should have spent it on beer, but instead I spent it on traveling around Europe, talking to government representatives in Gibraltar, going to the WTO in Geneva, going to Brussels, going to Luxembourg, going to Northern Ireland, talking to people in Stormont, including Saoirse Eastwood. We spent it. We spent it traveling. And I should have spent it all on beer. That's what it said. It was buy a drink for the Three Blokes. That's what it was called. Oh God, is someone going to correct me on when the Bronze Age was? No, it wasn't. Jesus had a whip, never used it once. Yes, he did. He used it in the temple when he went after the money traders in the temple. He whipped them good. Whip it good. Paula Reynolds regularly attends church. God bless her. She's in line to be the next Archbishop of Canterbury, isn't she? A personal SPA, if it was built to open to the public, they built without LA permission. It was bulldozed. Yeah, it was bulldozed. Sorry, a personal spa like that. I saw SPA and I for some reason I read it as like it must be an acronym for something, but it was a spa, a personal spa with no planning permission. I'll be so glad when Graham gets back to 9:30 and I can work out when Politics Social is on. So it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon every day for the foreseeable week or so. Celibacy just seems so unnatural to me, but then spending my life fearing my God also seems unnatural to me. So, well, I always think that like if you're only good because you're scared of God, you're not really being good, are you? Are you? I don't murder people not because it's against the law. I don't murder people because it's an awful thing to do and it's morally repugnant to me. So even if it was legal, I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't. It's like smoking. It's legal. I don't do it. Don't like it. Don't like the smell. The problem with big charities is to exploit public schools, for example. Oh, yes. Public school in Tufton Street. Public schools in Tufton Street, Tufton Street think tanks are charities. The charities, don't you know? Much better value for money, Graham. Travel, talking, not just drinking. Viv. Yeah, but we've run out of money pretty quick. Paul says, I'm not a fan of the Salvation Army, but the UK CEO is paid only 22,000. I think they should be paid more. I honestly do believe that they should have a better wage than that if they're running a charity of that size. Those who personally benefit from charitable donations take the piss if people who give years of time and effort freely. Yes. Yeah, and that's the problem, David. Like, you're right. People who freely give their time, it's unfair on them. And that's why I do think that there should always be remuneration for helping out. But for some reason, we don't have this attitude. There's the same attitude that permeates like the BBC. They think that you should make stuff for the BBC for free. I mean, I did. I made a TV show for the BBC, an 8-part TV show, which has been screened in over 70 countries around the world. And I've never been paid for it. They never paid me for it. One time the BBC got in touch with me to do a couple of segments for the travel show. They wanted me to do like little clips. I was here on the island at the time. So it would have been quite difficult because I would have had to write the script and set it all up and then do the lighting and then the sound and make sure everything sounded great. And then I would have had to get in a little boat and paddle all my way to the bloody mainland to get the internet required, the bandwidth required to upload the video in HD. And which is usually, it's like half a gig. I mean, HD videos are big. I mean, 4K videos are even bigger. That's why I stream a lot. I save on the storage space. But yeah, and I'm like, okay, so what do you want me to talk about? We want to talk about, traveling on the cheap, and we want to talk about this. Okay, cool. How much do you pay? Oh, we don't pay our contributors. So, what? You want me to make a segment for your TV show where I film it, I write it, I script it, I direct it, I present it, I edit it, I send it to you, a cost to me, and I get paid? No, we don't pay our contributors. And you wonder why the only people who make it in the media are Nepo babies, because they don't need to be paid, because they've got daddy's money, which will last forever. Woo! Those who personally benefit from, oh, I've read that one. Licorice Whip. When people commit wrongs and ask God for forgiveness, they should ask the victim for forgiveness. Yes, Sarah, I absolutely 100% agree. Were you supposed to be paid by the beep? Yeah. So the deal was, it was 25,000 US dollars for the series. It was a year's work, right? $25,000 up front. And then I'll be on a percentage of the money that the show made, right? So if the show made like a million pounds, I'll be in for like $250,000, okay? But then at the last minute, they were like, well, we've got funding from, commission from National Geographic. The commission was from the National Geographic. BBC were the distributors. Lonely Planet was the production company at the time. The BBC owned Lonely Planet. And then they said, look, we've got a tiny shortfall at the end of the production budget. We need another 10 grand to make the show. Otherwise, we can't make the show. So what we'll do is we will cut your upfront fee to $15,000, which was at the time was about £10,000. $15,000, but we'll up your percentage at the back end. And I thought, okay, great, sign the contract, thinking I'd make at least, 50 grand, 60 grand. I mean, this show was going to be shown, I knew it was going to be shown in over 50 countries around the world. It's so far been shown in like China, India, all around the Middle East. It's been shown in the USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa. It's been shown, it's been shown all around the world. Not in the UK though. It's never been screened in the UK. Never been broadcast in the UK. But yeah, then they use some Hollywood accounting. They call it Hollywood accounting, and it's how movies that seem to make loads of money at the box office don't actually make any money, so they can avoid paying tax. Yeah, they did some Hollywood accounting, and essentially, I didn't discover till too late that the percentage I got wasn't the gross, it was the net of the production company. And production companies don't get any back end stuff really. The production company makes the show, they get a commission. So you get, say, $500,000, go make the show, here's $500,000. And you make the show, you present it to them and go, there you go. And they go, thank you very much. And whatever you've got left over, you keep and go and have a big cocaine fueled sex party. I don't know what rich people do. Yeah, just the way they set up the contract just absolutely fucked me. And a couple of years afterwards, I met up with the producer of the show in Melbourne, and I said, what the fuck? And he went, I can't believe you signed that contract, Graham. No entertainment lawyer would have let you sign that contract. And I was like, I couldn't afford an entertainment lawyer. Like, you had the force, you had the might of the BBC behind you. That is a tyrannical power relationship. The BBC comes up to an aspiring filmmaker, someone who wants to travel and make shows about all the countries of the world, and says, hey, little guy, would you like to make a show for the BBC? Are they going to say no? No, of course they're not. And then the TED Talks, I've done a bunch of TED Talks, and you get paid for them. Sometimes you get expenses, but one time I went to California, no word of a lie, Palm Springs, California. I did a TED Talk. I got a standing ovation, and they didn't pay for my flight. They didn't pay for my, didn't pay me to do the talk. They didn't pay for my flight, and they didn't pay for my accommodation. I spent the night before I gave my talk sleeping or trying to sleep in my hire car in the desert. Outside Palm Springs, because I couldn't afford even the cheapest motel. Everywhere was sold out because of this big conference. And it was only after I'd done my talk and I was chatting to some of the people who were there that I found out that the tickets for this main TED event, this isn't a TEDx event, this is a main TED event, were $4,000 each. But I don't get paid because, I'm a volunteer. I don't need money, I don't need money. Who needs money? Yeah, so yeah, it's something that I feel very strongly about because of personal experience of people absolutely taking the piss and expecting people like me who have a modicum of talent, who can present, who can talk about stuff, who know about the world situation, politics, history, whatever, and just thinking, we don't have to actually pay them, do we? Do we have to actually give them any money to do that? And it's weird. It's it's just a weird mentality that we have, and it's worse on the left, and we do it to ourselves on the left. And I think absolutely we should be paying people to produce. Imagine we have a foundation, call it a think tank, right? This think tank doesn't just make YouTube videos with us lot, but also we have people like Abby Heffer and Patsy Stevenson and Zoe Gardner actually putting together papers on their particular subjects. Okay, so for Zoe it would be immigration, for Patsy it'd be women's rights. We could also do stuff on trans rights, and we get these under the noses of the fucking MPs, because that's what the right do. Sorry, that was the wrong hand. That's what the right do. I don't know if I'm flipped on the screen. That's what the right do. They get paid to make research papers and give them to MPs. And those research papers are skewed and slanted and utter bullshit. But the MPs read them and go, oh, that sounds very authoritative. Okay, that sounds very well researched. Okay. And people get paid for that. We should be getting paid to lobby Labour. Let's sit around and go, oh, Labour should be doing better. Labour should be doing this and Labour should be doing that. Okay, let's make them. Let's put the ideas in their heads. Let's go, look, this doesn't just make moral sense. Say it with me. It makes economic sense as well, Labour. We're doing papers about getting back closer to Europe, how we can, get back in with the gang, our old posse in Europe without upsetting the Brexit press, or what we can do about the Brexit press. So if we do upset them, it doesn't really matter, because they don't have any fangs anymore. Let's defang them, defang the press. Anyway, it's not just left-wing. Oh, yes, Stephen makes a fucking great point here. Sorry, yes, Stephen. It's not just a left-right thing. Most arts like this, music, film, dance, etc. Yes, absolutely. Art in the UK is ridiculous. It is people who are privately educated, who went to a posh school, can do what the fuck they like and say, this is a comment on the human condition, and get paid millions for it. And the rest of us who didn't go to a posh school, who aren't Banksy or Anthony Gormley. I mean, I like Banksy, I like Anthony Gormley, but they're fundamentally posh. They could, in the words of another song by Pulp, call their dad and he could stop it all. I'm very sure that if Robert Goodinson, or his name is, the guy who puts himself around as Banksy, I'm pretty sure that if he was a black homeless street artist, no way would his works of art be going for £1 million at bloody auction. No way, ever at all. No, they're just not going to happen. A veg pie says, blimey, Graham, I didn't know the details re BBC and Ted. You should have been paid. Yeah. So I want to make a documentary about the YouTube. I want to make a documentary for YouTube about Lonely Planet, the rise and fall of Lonely Planet, but it's also going to bring in what happened to me into the mix, and what happened, because everyone got screwed over. To be fair, it wasn't just me. The producer of my show had to be marched out of the Lonely Planet building after the BBC just decimated it. They took out all of the production, the TV production, out from Melbourne. They sacked everyone, made them redundant, who worked in that team over there making shows, and moved it to the UK. And then they had some part of the publishing thing was I think the website was in Oakland, California, and then the production was in TV production was in London, and then the book production was in Melbourne. And you're like, what the hell? Do you know what time zones are? Do you know what time zones are? Do you understand the? So there was no joined up thinking between the website bit and the fucking TV bit and the bloody, because they were on different time zones. It was 3 in the afternoon in Melbourne. It was 3 in the bloody morning in LA. I mean, California even. Just some of the decisions they took. And it's fascinating, the BBC took over Lonely Planet in 2008. Immediately, Murdoch spat his dummy out the pram, started whinging and stamping his feet. How can the biggest broadcaster, they're not the biggest broadcaster, but whatever. How can the biggest broadcaster in the world own the biggest travel book company in the world? It's not fair. And he kept taking them to court and causing all kinds of trouble. And that was the underlying problem with it all, I mean, with the deal. But the BBC ended up selling Lonely Planet after sacking half the fucking staff for stupid reasons, or making them redundant. They didn't make the killer app that they should have made. Like, I could have made a killer app for Lonely Planet. I discussed this with them and said, this is what the app should be. It should be effectively two versions, a light version and the professional version that you pay for, you know, Lonely Planet Pro or whatever. You pay a monthly subscription for that, and it gives you access to all the books, every single book in a format, not a PDF, not a fucking PDF, right? But in an actual way you can read it and scroll in and highlight words and save stuff, but also link it in with TripAdvisor. And what you have is an app that when you go somewhere, it links in with Google Maps, it links in with TripAdvisor, it links in with the reviews of Lonely Planet critics. Okay, so basically you'll go to a place, it will have a review of a hotel or a review of a restaurant, and it says, here's what Lonely Planet thought, right? And then underneath, here's what other people thought, right? And it's all in the one app. It's all in the one app. And you've got a free version that does different cities, different countries, whatever, now and again. It changes each day. It'll say, oh, today we're looking at Macau. Today we're looking at, you know, Montevideo. And then you get to, you know, scroll through. But if you want the full app, you will pay for it, and you'll pay like £10 a month. It wouldn't be much. But I tell you this now, every single backpacker in the fucking world would have bought it. I would have bought it. Do you know how many Lonely Planet books I've bought in my life? Probably one, maybe two. I don't know. Like, I just didn't buy them. And when I was doing my travel around the world, I didn't buy any extra books to do that, to work out how to do it. I went to the library, just took out like a big stack of 16 books and worked out how to do it. Having everyone pay a subscription to access all the books. No one's going to buy all the books. Who buys all? I've got all the books, but like I have now. But you know, a lot of them are given to me by Lonely Planet when I work for them. But like that idea that you were going to, I don't know, people were going to buy loads of books every year, especially as things were moving onto phones, onto smartphones. 2008, big bang. That should have been the year everyone was getting smartphones. They should have made that killer app, and they never fucking did. And it will annoy me for the rest of my life that they didn't take that opportunity to make a really, really cool app for us backpackers that would really help when we're traveling around the world to know where to go. You know, do that Rotten Tomatoes things of, here's the professional review, here's the user review, here's what's good, here's what's not good, you know. And they could have linked it in with Just Eat and you know, all this other stuff. They could have linked it in with other apps, and they could have just raked in the money. They would have been drowning in money if only they listened to me. But no one listens to me, because I didn't go to a posh school. Well, I did go to quite a posh school, but just not posh enough. Sounds a bit like grand news for travel. Yeah. You know, the trick in high art is to buy your own pieces and raise prices over time. Well, if you've got the money to buy your own pieces, hello. Oh, Veg Pie, £5 for your troubles. Oh, thank you, Veg Pie. I still have your beautiful plaque on the wall with the little veggie pie that Marcus etched into the wood. I'll send a picture of it to you. What I'll do is I'll try and get all pictures of all the plaques and everything that we made last time, and I'll put them onto the Discord server. So if anyone's on Discord, you do that. Torquin and Tilly's parents buy them entry level through the Posh Boys gravy train, and they have the cheek to moan about paying VAT on that luxury item, says David Peacock. Yeah, if you spend £30,000 a year, or if you spend £30,000 on a extension for your house, you have to pay VAT on everything. You have to pay VAT on materials, you have to pay VAT on what you pay the builders to do it. If you're drawing up plans, you've got to pay VAT on the cost of that. And yet if you pay, and that means that of that £30,000, £6,000, that money is going to the Exchequer. Brilliant. But if you spend £30,000 on Tarquin's, you know, social climbing, then for some reason that's out of order. And don't forget, we do have schools. You know, there are schools that you can go to that you don't have to pay for. It's not like there's not an option, you know. Here's my sub for accessing your knowledge. It says, thank you very much, Paul. Thank you. But you can imagine that, like £10 a month for a collective. We all work together, and we get 8,000 people paying £10 a month. That's the aim. And then we can actually do all this stuff. We have a foundation. Let's call it, you know, I don't know, the interesting foundation. Yeah, we set ourselves up as a left-wing think tank, and we can produce all this stuff. We can produce reports, we can produce videos, we can do live events, all that kind of stuff, all helping each other out, but also not have this existential panic every single day of like, how am I going to afford this? How am I going to afford that? You know, cutting things out of our lives because we can't afford to do them, you know, like have kids or take cocaine. I don't know. I don't think I'll take cocaine even if I had money, but you know, I might think about having kids. That'd be nice. Kids, you know. It's a shame that the worst people amongst us have got like, can have infinite number of children. Because they can afford to do so. It's getting a bit windy now. It's getting a bit windy, Miller. So I'm gonna see if I can find me fluffer. Do you reckon I can find me fluffer in 5 seconds flat? Sounds a bit like man used for travel. The name politics social kind of works for your idea as well, Graham. Yeah, but then I think we need to be a little bit more vague in general. So it's really annoying. I got my little Rode microphone thing, and it normally has me fluffer in here, and it's fallen out, and it's going to be somewhere at the bottom of my bag, and it's just this little tiny fluffy thing. Well, you know, it's just a little tiny thing. Oh God, I'm never going to find it. But I'll read your comments. So if you throw me some comments, oh, Viv, thank you very much. You will be a good dad, Graham. Oh, thank you very much, sir. Well, that's very nice of you. Here's some mud in your eye or wall, whatever, from Viv. Oh, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. It's the last week I'm here, and there we go. That should help. Does that help? Can you see I've got a little bit of fluff there? I've fluffed my microphone. Consider yourself fluffed. I was thinking for a while about adopting a kid, giving a chance for a better life for a kid already living without condemning a new person to suffering, says Fax. Yeah, floof, says Gallifreyan Man. I'm a bit worried it's going to blow off. Is my fluff going to blow off? That would be disgraceful. Disgraceful behaviour. It's a very working fluff. So yeah, what do you think? I mean, but the basic premise here of this video was like, we need to pay people. That's it. You know, artists, left-wingers, progressives, social commenters who are not on the right. We need to pay them to do the job they're doing. 100%. Like it needs to be a full-time job, and they need to have the protections that full-time workers get. I don't understand why people on the left, who are always very vocal about unions, about people's rights, workers' rights, and at the same time, they say, yeah, but the people who are doing the work that we need to be done to fight against the right, we're not going to give them those rights. We are not going to give them holiday pay. We're not going to give them sick pay. We're not going to give them a pension fund. Fuck that. You know, they can just die when they get too old to work. And then you've got like the right, which actually looks after its own. And that's a disgrace. That is an embarrassment. That is a sad indictment of the left, of the whole left way of thinking, of like, no, it is immoral to pay people to do good things, and we've got to stop thinking like that, because the other side have no qualms whatsoever to pay people to do bad things. That really worked. How can it blow off? It's on a leash. No, I mean the little fluffy bit will blow off. The premise is sound, Graham. It just needs fleshing out. Yes, I hope so. Svak says it's such a brilliant thing to do. Yeah, absolutely. And one of the pagans, Gallifreyan's responding, oh, that sounds cozy. Might set up a blanket for similar cozy vibes. And get a cloak. Yes, a cloak. Very cloak and dagger. Cloak, dagger. Take that, Tories. That'd be a good name for a politics channel, wouldn't it? Cloak and dagger politics. I've set you up there, One Angry Pagan. You want to call yourself Cloak and Dagger Politics? I can just imagine the animation sequence now. Deprived and depraved. Well, there are some gene pools in rural areas. Some very small gene pools in rural areas, says Martin. That's a lot of work, Graham, and there's a lot of people who are against us. No, I mean, 8,000 people. We should be able to get 8,000 people to pay £10 a month, just to get started. So we can set 15 of us up as, you know, full time. This is our job. We criticise the right. We also criticise Labour when necessary, We also combat misinformation. That's a huge thing that we need to do. Left-wing think tank, I like the sound of it. Please set it up. Yes. Okay, we're working on it. Donkey. I think on good practice is giving up the sardonic sarnies. Sarnie is not as nice as Chardonnay. It's too bitter in it. Roy Keane is a whiskey drinker, as it were. Donkey, you completely lost me. I have no idea what you're talking about. But yeah, let's get rid of the sardonic songs. Sword and Shield, Coke and Blagger politics. Coke and Blagger. I love that. That'd be right-wing politics, wouldn't it, for bloody Boris Johnson's lot. I have both for Cloak and Dagger. Anyway, we're coming up to the hour mark now, and the wind's getting up. And I need to pop into town to go to the ATM, get some money out to pay for some more mud. Yeah, we better get going because the wind gets up and then the waves rise. Should we have a look? Should we have a look? Do you want to have a look? Here we go. This is what it looks like at the moment. You can see it's quite wavy. This is quite wavy for us. It's not as, like this morning when I started, it was beautifully smooth. It was smooth. As clear as an unmuddied lake, but now it's, it's a little bit there. It's a little bit blur. Anyway, you're not a little bit blur. Thank you very much for joining me on this show. I'll be back tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the afternoon for another Island Brew. Potential storm coming. Yes, there's definitely going to be a storm. There's always a storm. It's Bocas del Toro. It's just stormy. It's either dead hot and sunny or dead hot and stormy. But it's just the way it goes down. Thanks very much for the chat. Thanks very much for the super chat. Thanks for just indulging me in what's going down and what's going around in my head as I sit on this island. I've got to say, last night we had a clear night sky, and I laid down on the boardwalk on the island there and just looked up at the stars, and they were just absolutely incredible, and I miss them. It's the one thing I think I miss above all else when I'm in the UK. I miss the stars because you just can't see them in the UK because the city lights and it's always bloody cloudy. Anyway, so thanks very much for joining me, and until next time, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.